Rabotai, welcome to our Wednesday night shiur. Shiur before SHAVUOT. Shiur is dedicated to the Hatzlacha of Olam Yisrael, especially to the Mishtatfim, to our good friend Gabriel Chai, may he find his soulmate. He came by Navi Israel, to Abraham ben Yosef. May you, Bezrat Hashem, may we have good news soon.
Amen.
And to all the tzaddikim in the back over there, may Hashem bless them, they should be tzaddikim, and may the parents ship a lot of nachat from them.
Amen.
Today our shiur is about SHAVUOT. Now I know what all you guys are thinking. We know what SHAVUOT is. It's SHAVUOT is we eat a little dairy lasagna. It's the one time of year we substitute the oshibach. Finally, he doesn't make oshibach, and we eat lasagna or all these kinds of cheesecakes, cup of coffee. We stay up all night, chach, lach, lach. This year it's going to be interesting. Why is it going to be interesting? What are people going to be talking about all night? They're going to be talking about what? Shalom. Arabit is going to be at the end, sorry. What are they going to be talking about? Oh, the Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem. You know, you're gonna be sitting over there. You want to do the Tycoon, but the guy comes to you. No, let's talk about it. It's Mashiach. It's Messianic. The Gaza protests. 58 Gazans passed away. A, B, C, D. And what's gonna happen, okay? All night is gonna go to what? Shalom Aleichem. All night is gonna go to Devarim Betelim. But what the heck? As long as they stayed up all night, no? It's a mitzvah. First of all, I want to tell you guys something interesting. Where do we find that we have to stay up all night? Where does this minhag come from? Zohar Kadosh. Very good. Is it read in the Shulchan Aruch? You learn a little Shulchan Aruch, right? A little bit. Not at the moment, but halachot, yes? Yalchut Yosef here and there, the Hagaot, right? Ben Ish Chai. Ben Ish Chai is full with Zohar, right? So if I would open up the Shulchan Aruch right now, or Chaim, and I would open up Hilchot Sukkah. Sukkah, how many simanim are there? How many chapters? Like 30, 40 chapters. Simanim. Open up about Yom Kippur, 20 chapters. You know how many there's on SHAVUOT? One.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. One siman, what is it? What is the nosach of the prayer? What is the text of the prayer on SHAVUOT? That's it. No minhagim, no staying up, no nothing. Zero. Mamash efes. And it's really interesting because SHAVUOT is the climax of all the year, of the whole year. It is the day that made us Jewish people. It's Chag Matan Torah. Of Sadia Gaon, of blessed memory, one of the Geonim used to say in the Aseret Hadibrot. What are the Aseret Hadibrot? Most people don't even know the 10 Commandments are. First one, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. Number 2, you should have no other God. Number 3, don't say God's name in vain. Number 4, Shabbat. Shabbat Kodesh. Shmur the Shabbat. Number 5, respect your parents. Then you have on the other side, do not kill, do not steal, do not do adultery, do not covet, right? And do not be a false witness, okay? Do not covet is different than jealousy. Tachmo, you know what chemda is? When you covet so much, when you're so jealous, you act upon your jealousy. You understand? So it's different than jealousy. Jealousy is in my heart. Chemda is in my heart and in my actions. Okay, this is what I said. Rav Sadia Gaon says all the halachot, all the Taryag mitzvot, 613 mitzvot, is inside the Aseret Hadibrot. That's why they used to have a minhag back in the day. When the Chazan used to read the Torah for the Aseret Hadibrot, what would happen? Everybody used to stand on their feet. Then they found the tshuva of the Rambam. Back in the day, how would people write? 1,000 years ago, time of the Rambam. With a feather, with a quill, and you need to buy special cloth. It wasn't like today, you go to the 99-cent store, you buy yourself paper. If the Rambam was alive in our time, wow, he would be saying Shechianu every day. You know, for him was to write. So they found, hundreds of years after he passed away, this is already when they published his books, a tshuva, an answer that he wrote to some man, some chacham, he writes over there, that a person should not stand when they read Aseret HaDibrot. Why? Because there might be people in the crowd that don't believe in the Torah. They think the Torah, R.Shalom, is not from the Shamayim. And then they'll see you standing during the Aseret HaDibrot, and what will they say to themselves? Oh, if they're standing during the Aseret HaDibrot, that means what? This is the only part of the Torah that's from Hashem. Everything else they sit. So that means what? Everything else is not from Shamayim, like Korach they become. So the Rambam says you don't have to stand. Not only don't you don't have to, you shouldn't stand. Why? There might be an apikoros in the crowd. Understand? Rav Ovadia comes along in Chazon Ovadia, and he says over there, not only should you not stand, if you see somebody standing, you have to tell him, sit down. Don't do sitting. Do not go against the Rambam. Now let's say your father or your brother is going up to the Torah for the Aseret HaDibrot. When your father or older brother is going up, what do? We stand up out of respect. But at the same time, the Rambam said you shouldn't stand up during this part of the Torah. What do? You have to stand up before your father gets called up to the Torah. That way, it won't be looking like you're standing up dafka for the 10 Commandments. But you're standing up for what? For the respect of who? Of your Abba or your older brother. Okay, so it's very important halakha. But the Aseret HaDibrot, in general, all the Torah is inside of it. All the Torah mitzvahs are Rav Yegaon. And what do we read on the night of Shavuot? After we finish the Chumash, the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, what do we read? All 613 mitzvot. It's a very big thing. I remember as a kid when we used to pray in Beit Gavril. This is back in the day, before they start doing the 1,000,000 renovations over there. That's still been going on for 20 years. So when I was a kid, I remember, it's still in my memory. They used to make a big table in the middle. All the old guys used to sit over there. They used to have watermelon, siemitchki, and all that. The rabbi, Rabbi Shemanov, used to sit in the head of the table, and he used to go one by one, every mitzvah. First mitzvah, pru'urvu. Second mitzvah, brit milah. Third mitzvah, a person without a brit cannot eat from the korban pesach. Fourth mitzvah, this. Fifth mitzvah, kiddush levana. Sixth mitzvah, this. It's very important. Why? If you look inside the 613 mitzvot, if you pay attention, you're going to think the rabbis made this up. Why? 7 times it says over there Shemitah. How many times could you write the same mitzvah down? Shemitah, 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 Shemitah. 7 times they write the same mitzvah. Come on. I thought it's 613 distinct mitzvot. Right? So you're telling to your friend, listen, the rabbis, they avdu aleinu. You know avdu aleinu? They messed up. They're messing with us. Right? So that's why it's very important when a rabbi comes, he comes to a kahal. And he sits down, he teaches every single person over there 613 mitzvot. And I remember a long time ago when I used to do this, today I don't do this anymore, I wouldn't even be able to explain 5 mitzvot. 5 mitzvot. It's so interesting, it's so beautiful. For example, there's some mitzvot, of the 613 mitzvot, you don't even know them, that they exist. But you do them every day. What are they? If a person's in a taxi, you leave the taxi, what do you do after you leave the taxi? You pay the guy. If he's a Jewish taxi, when you pay him, on that moment that you paid him, do you know you're fulfilling a biblical obligation? Of B'yomot Yitan Scharo? You're fulfilling a mitzvah that's set from the Torah that you have to pay a guy on the day that he finishes his job for you? Did you know that?
No.
If a person hires somebody to paint his house and he finishes on a certain day, and you pay him on that day, you fulfill the biblical obligation. If you hired a babysitter, and you come home at 11 o'clock at night, you're a little tipsy, you can't find your wallet, you left it in the car, and you tell her, listen, I'm going to pay you tomorrow.
That's not good.
That's not good. You have to go to your car, if you want to fulfill a biblical obligation. You have to go to your car, get your wallet, and pay her on that night. It's a mitzvah, you have until dawn. If they finish during the day, you have until sunset. If they finish in the nighttime, you have until dawn to pay. Did you know there's a mitzvah like this exists? Let's say, for example, you were invited to a wedding. And you say, I'm not going to this guy's wedding. How come you don't want to go to this guy's wedding? He didn't come to my wedding. Why do I have to go to his wedding? What is that? Lo timkom. You're going over a mitzvah aseh from the Torah, a lo ta'aseh, not to take revenge. Oh, this is not revenge, I'm teaching him a lesson. You know, I'm teaching him how to be a chilavek. No, you're not teaching him how to be a chilavek. You know what you're doing? Lo timkom. It's revenge. If a person comes to your house, you ask them to borrow a pot. Sometimes you have neighbors, right? So, you have a neighbor you're friendly with, so you ask them, can I borrow a couple of eggs? Right? I want to borrow some eggs. I'm out of eggs. My kids love eggs. I ran out of everything on Shabbat. It's Tycoon or SHAVUOT. And he says, no, I don't have any eggs for you. What do you mean? I just saw you yesterday. We just were doing shopping yesterday. You bought that whole store. I'm sorry, I got no eggs for you. They slammed the door in your face. Then the next day, they come back to you. Listen, I'm out of eggs. Can I borrow some eggs? So what do you say? Listen, I'm not going to be like you. You didn't want to give me, but I'm going to give you. You just went over a negative commandment of the Torah, lo titor. Do not hold a grudge. Unbelievable, right? There's many mitzvot, you have no idea that they exist. You have no idea that they exist. When is the one time of the year that you find out they exist? Did you guys know there is a mitzvah of shiluach haken? What's shiluach haken? You have a bird's nest, and you see the mother is on the nest. You have a mitzvah to send away the mother and take the babies. Or the eggs. Yeah, there's another mitzvah you didn't know that exists. Now, there was one guy, I remember it was in our chat actually. He sent on the chat, oh, I did the mitzvah of shiluach haken. How did he do it? On his balcony, there was a bird's nest. He threw away the bird, and he pushed away the mommy, and he picked up the eggs. And he was so happy. I was afraid to tell him anything. I'm like, that's not how you do shiluach haken. Shiluach haken has to be on public property, and it has to be done at night, not during the day. What did he do? He did it during the day, and he did it on his private property. That's not shiluach haken. I didn't tell him anything. I was afraid to make him feel bad. There's so many mitzvot that we don't know. There's Shemitah. We say, oh, how come we have 7 times the Torah says Shemitah? 7 separate mitzvot. What are you, nuts? It's no kind of thing. 7 mitzvot. No, there's different kinds of Shemitah. There's Shemitah ksafim, Shemitah of money. There's Shemitah of the aretz. There's Shemitah of perot. There's many different kinds of Shemitahs. When do you find out what they are? On the night of Shavuot. This is my suggestion to a person, which I know that he's really, really, really going to take it seriously. That he should try his best to at least finish the Chumash part, read Megillat Ruth, and right away start to study the 613 mitzvot. Because it's something that's unbelievable. It's a very big thing to learn. Because what makes us Jewish? The 600. What is the Torah? If it's not 613 mitzvot, then what is it? Then what is it? It's nothing, right? Welcome. So the Torah says, Chag Shavuot has 2 names to it. What are the 2 names? Chag Shavuot and Chag Matan Torah. Right? What do we say in the bracha? Chag Matan Toratenu. Now the question is, where does this minhag? So Baruch over here said, it comes from the Zohar. He's correct. This minhag to stay up all night comes from the Zohar Kadosh. Well, how come Maran didn't mention anything? How come he didn't mention it? Many times when Maran, the Shulchan Aruch, has a minhag from the Zohar, he always mentions it. Not only does he mention it, he says we have to follow the Zohar over the Pshat. Like in Netilat Yadayim. And in Birkat Kohanim. And many things, he says follow the Zohar. He doesn't mention this. In fact, the Shla, the Baal Shem Chot Abrid, you guys remember I sent in the chat, there's a special prayer to say an Erev Rosh Chodesh for the kids, right? Mm-hmm. From the Shla Kadosh. Why is he called the Shla? His name is really Rabbi Yeshaya Levi Horowitz. If anybody was here, it was in Tveria by the grave of the Rambam. Right next to the Rambam is the Shla, right? So he authored a very special book called Shnei Luchot HaBrit, the 2 tablets. Very famous book in the Ashkenazi world. Very famous book. Also Sfaradim. Very Kabbalistic. He was Ashkenazi, he moved to Eretz Yisrael, and over there he had a lot of ha'ara and Torah. So he writes over there a crazy story. Frightening story. He writes, the Rav Yosef Karo, the Maran Shulchan Aruch, he didn't always live in Israel. In fact, most of his life he lived where? In Chutz La'aretz. For many years he was living in the Ottoman Empire, in Turkey over there, in a certain city. He was his uncle's student. And over there he had Talmidim and this, he had like 10, 15 Talmidim. One day, it was Shavuot night. Now, in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Israel, how many days of Shavuot we have? 2. In Israel, how much? 1. John Cholos. So over there they were studying all night. They were studying, and Maran said, listen guys, you guys don't have to do this, but if you want, you could come join me to learn Torah all night. Why? The Zohar says frightening things about people who learn Torah all night on that night. Now to sit and talk about how the embassy moved to Jerusalem, and how Guatemala today also moved the embassy to Jerusalem. It's also very funny, Guatemala was the 2nd country after the US to recognize Israel as a state 70 years ago. It's also the 2nd state to move the embassy to Jerusalem 70 years later. Okay, whatever, there's no coincidences in the world, right? So, The night is not given to talk shtuyot about the moving of the embassy and if Mashiach is coming was the messianic process. No, this is hevel avalim. The Zohar says whoever learns Torah the whole night in the night of Shavuot, 70 blessings are put on his head. You want 70 blessings? This is not Ali Baba telling you this. It's not some Ali Baba. This is the Zohar HaKadosh. This is not some faker, some Baba from Brooklyn. It's the Zohar HaKadosh, Rahim. The Zohar says whoever learns Torah the whole night, 70 blessings are put on his head.
How many carrots we took off? Taking off.
Rabbi Shmueli says whoever stays up the whole night, not whoever after the meal puts his head down on the table, takes a nap, and then wakes up like a panther, then he thinks he's a strong guy, he stayed up all night. First of all, the night is very short. Okay, by 3:30, 4 o'clock, we're already going to the mikveh. Okay, it's a short night. Okay, most of the time, people barely finish the Tanakh part. We're going to get into that in a second. Zohar says 70 blessings. Then he says, whoever stays up the whole night, says the Zohar, Hashem is so happy in what he's doing. It's not my words. It's in the Zohar Kadosh. Rabbi Ovadia even brings down the Chazon Ovadia. Hashem is so happy in what he's doing. Hashem says to all of his angels, come guys, come look. Come boys, come. You see down there, you see this shul? Oh, you see how they're learning Torah? Tani Dibur. You see that shul? These are my kids. On the day, they're so excited to get the Torah. Not only did they count the Omer, they're even staying up. Oh, look how they're excited. Look, guys, look. The Zohar says the shuls that stay up all night, they take away from themselves hundreds of bad decrees from that city. They're able to break hundreds of bad decrees from the city. Hashem looks down and he's so happy. The Lashon Zohar is v'chadei b'chedva. What's chadei b'chedva? He's happy with great happiness. And it's our zechut. And it says over there, the most beautiful part. And he's written in the book of Zichronot.
Wow.
Whoever stays up all night, the Zohar says, he's written in the book of Zichronot. You know what the book of Zichronot is, guys? In the book of memories. What do you mean the book of memories? You know you have an album at home? Your wedding album. What's the only album you probably looked at in your house? Your wedding album, right? Even that you probably never... I never see my wedding album. I don't even think I have it yet. Okay.
Still waiting.
You're still waiting. So, Hashem also has a wedding album. Yeah, and Shavuot is his anniversary. Every Shavuot night, Hashem waits to see who's going to be learning all night. He takes that guy and he puts him in his wedding album. This is my wife, he says. This is my love. That's the Sefer Zichronot, not some Sefer Zichronot of, Aladdin and the 40 Thieves. Not this kind of Sefer Zichronot. Sefer Zichronot of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't you want to be in Hashem's book of Zichronot? Imagine if Trump calls you and says you're getting an award. You're going to be happy, no? With Trump going to the TV, to the national television, such kavod. You're going to be in Hashem's Sefer Zichronot. All you got to do is fight your sleep for a couple of hours. And you know what? Especially on that night, that's when the Satan wants to make you sleep the most. That's when the Satan makes you so crazy. And I'll tell you a secret, guys.
Coffee.
Secret. They say on the Shavuot, what do we eat? Minhag. Cheesecake. Dairy foods, right? Dairy dishes. Dairy dishes. Lasagna, shmazanya, I don't know. Ice cream. So the thing is like this. Before we're going to get into the halakha, where did this minhag start from? Okay, so there is a midrash that says the Jewish people, they went to get the Torah, and they know in the 10 commandments is all 613 commandments, right? And one of the commandments of the Torah is what? You're not allowed to eat an animal without the animal getting proper shahita, right? Proper slaughtering. So the midrash says, the Jewish people came back home right after the Matan Torah, and what did they say to their wives? They're giving them steak, shashlik ala esh, it's a happy day. So no, we can't eat. What happened? Chishu? We just got the Torah. It says over there, we're not allowed to eat. It's all neverot to terefot. You have to only eat chalat bet Yosef. They had to throw out all the meat that they had prepared. And what's the only thing they had left? Dairy. So from there started the minhag to eat only dairy. Then there's a second reason. What's the second reason? This reason I like better.
So you don't fall asleep.
Yeah, no, dairy actually makes you fall asleep. Dairy actually makes you very heavy. It makes you very sleepy.
So true.
Second reason, and the day that Hashem wanted to give the Torah to Am Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu went up, and there was a big fight between Moshe and the angels, right? And Hashem said to Moshe, give them an answer. So you know the Midrash, Hashem changed Moshe's face to Avraham Avinu's face, and the angels got all embarrassed. Why? Hashem said to the angels, you're not embarrassed, you went to this guy's house. He made you such a nice seri puri. He made you a nice table with, he gave you chem'ah, butter.
He's like lying to them.
Huh? What?
Is he like lying to them?
No, he showed them to remind them. To remind them. Obviously, Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama includes all the neshamot. Right? So, Avraham Avinu, what did he serve the angels? Butter, cheese, stuff like that. Toast. Right? So when the angels saw that, then the angel said to Hashem, okay, but he didn't only give us that, he also gave us tongue. He says, yeah, then what did you guys do? What does it say in the Torah? They ate under the tree. What did they eat? They eat the butter with the meat, the tongue. So Hashem said to the angels, you guys are not ashamed? Even the smallest child in the Jewish people knows how many hours you have to wait, minimum, between meat and milk. 6 hours. And you think you could get the Torah? For shame. Get out of here. And the angels left with a lot of shame. So to remind Hashem, to remind the angels, every night of Shavuot, one of the meals, what do we eat? Dairy. Okay? To remind them of the thing that Avraham Avinu, our forefathers, served them dairy, and then he served them meat, and they ate, and they messed up. That's why they didn't get the Torah. That's the second reason. Okay? Now, you guys have to remember, when you eat the dairy, you can't make all the meals of Shavuot dairy. It doesn't work like that. You can't do that. Why? Because the Torah says, "V'samachta b'chagecha." You have to be happy in your holidays. And en simcha ela babasar vayayin. Meat and wine. You have to eat meat and drink wine. Now, Aleish. Now the problem is like this. I want to eat dairy too. What do? Now, we live outside of Israel. We could do one day dairy, one day meat. But if people live in Israel, what should they do? They can't do one day dairy, one day meat.
In the morning, dairy.
So what do they do? So what's a good thing to do? In the night, eat dairy. And in the morning, eat meat. Why? So I'm here to tell you something I heard from Rabbi Gidon ben Moshe. Rabbi Gidon ben Moshe is a big chacham in Eretz Yisrael. He's a big chacham in Eretz Yisrael, student of Rav Ovadia, Rabbi Shul. He said that he testified. He used to see the stipler, the father of Chaim Kanievsky, every Shavuot, the night of Shavuot, what would he eat? Dairy. For two reasons. Number one, the Satan is always mikatreg that day. You understand? And how does the Satan mikatreg? In the food always. Food is not ready because it's Motzei Shabbat this year. Motzei Shabbat, your wife is petir cooking, you come home, and suddenly the food is not ready, and you're hungry.
Jump.
You know, suddenly Chas Shalom, Hashem could make you do jump. So what does he do? Stipler says, on the night of Shavuot, what should you eat? Dairy. Dairy is easy to make. Right? That way, number one, it's not going to be any shalom by problems. And number two, when you're going to go to shul afterwards, you're going to be able to drink coffee. And coffee, the caffeine makes you awake. If you're going to eat the meat, then come to shul, you're going to be stuck. Everybody's going to be sipping their coffees, their Starbucks, Chas Shalom. Then suddenly you're going to be like...
How are you going to fulfill the Yom Tov obligation?
Oh,
meat and wine.
Oh, so the meat and wine, number one, either you eat the meat and the wine in the morning, or number two, there is another way to get out of it. When did we say you have to eat meat and drink wine on Yom Tov? That's only when you used to bring the Korban Shlamim. There was a certain Korban we bring on Yom Tov called Korban Shlamim. Only in that instance you have to bring it, you have to eat part of the meat and drink it with wine. But today, when we don't have a Korban Shlamim, there's no necessity to eat the meat and drink the wine. But we do it because it's a tradition, it's a good thing. Another very important, so that's a very important thing I just said. The Stipler HaKadosh, his tradition was to eat dairy things, dafka on the night of Shavuot. Now another very beautiful minhag, the Midrash says every time Hashem spoke, the Har Sinai became filled with flowers and bisamim. So many Jews follow the Gra. The Gra says you're not allowed to bring you shouldn't come home with flowers during the year. Why? Because the people in the church, what do? They fill their churches with flowers, this and that. So if I'm going to also do that, it's going to be like I'm going in their ways. But it says one time of the year, Rabbi says you're allowed to do it. When? On Shavuot. It's a very big mitzvah to decorate your whole house with flowers, with hadassim, nice smelling hadassim, in the main street, and blooming flowers. They sell hadassim all year long. $2 a piece. Oh, and in shul we have a minhag to fill the whole place with flowers. It's a very important minhag. Why? Because every time Hashem spoke, he filled all of Har Sinai with flowers and besamim. Also, there's another tradition. There's another semech, foundation of this minhag. One of the things that Haman told Achashverosh is, this nation is very weird, he told him. It's a midrash like this. Every year, every holiday, they don't bring their wife anything. What do they bring them? Clothes, maybe jewelry, never flowers. And on Shavuot, which is their most important holiday, what do they bring instead of clothing and jewelry? What do they bring? Flowers. So from here we have another foundation to the minhag to bring flowers on Chag Shavuot. Now, the night of Shavuot, you come to shul. Now there, what?
Can they be fake flowers to decorate the house with?
Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever works. Now, the whole point is just to commemorate when Hashem spoke, he filled the whole place with flowers. Some people are allergic to flowers, so obviously that would be the best option. Now, what's important when I go to shul? Do women have to come to shul too? Do women have to do this minhag of staying up all night too? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? So they asked the Ben Ish Chai this question in Sodi Yesharif, and he writes over there, women don't have any minhag and any semblance to participate in this mitzvah. It's not connected to them at all. This mitzvah is only for the men. Only the men have to suffer for one night. No, I'm kidding. So it's a mitzvah for the men to stay up. Women have to go to sleep. Let's say they do want to go to shul. It's a bad idea. Why? Because the Gemara says in Masech Kiddushin, 10 barrels of speech came down to the world. 9 of them just took the females of the human race. That means you take one barrel and you have to spread it through billions of speeches in the world. They all have some sort of sounds, language. You know, just the human race, the females took 9 barrels of speech. So they're going to come to shul. And suddenly, chach chach, lach lach, instead of studying Torah, what are they going to be doing? They're going to be wasting their night. If they're going to come and read Tehillim, it's the Yortzeit of David HaMelech, okay, I understand. But if they're just going to do Stam Bilbul Adat, so Yatza Scharam Behefsedam. So it's better not to bring your wives to shul that night or your daughters next time, you know? Now, like I said, where did this minhag start? In the Zohar. But we see that Maran Beit Yosef did it. We talked about the Shla a couple of minutes ago. The Shla, in his book, Shnei Luchot HaBrit, says like this. One day, Maran was in one of the cities in Turkey, and he goes to shul, and he had 10, 15 students, and he told them, who wants to join me to learn Torah Shavuot night? Now, don't think Maran was a very popular guy, the writer Shulchan Aruch. He was not a guy that had a yeshiva with 300 pupils. He had like 20 pupils. He was very humble. The Chidah says there were 3 people in that generation that were picked to write the Shulchan Aruch. Out of all 3 of them, all 3 their names were Yosef. You have Yosef Bar Lev, you have Yosef Taitechak, and Rav Yosef Karo. Out of all 3 of them, Hashem only chose Rav Yosef Karo. Why? He was the most humble out of all 3 of them. He excelled in the midah of humbleness out of all 3 of them. And he also went through a very hard life, running away from the Spanish Inquisition. Okay, not important. His mom couldn't support him. He was kicked out of yeshiva because he couldn't pay the Rosh Yeshiva the money. He had a very hard life. He had 3 of his wives died in his lifetime. He used to get married, die. Get married, die. The only son that he had a continuation from when he got remarried at the age of like 80. For the 3rd time. And then he had a son, Yehuda. Basically, he didn't have a fun life. Okay, we don't wish this kind of life on anyone.
Do we know today his descendants?
Yes, the Aruch HaShulchan, which lived 100 to 150 years ago, was his descendant, Rav Epstein. One of his children moved to Europe.
Sounds Ashkenazi.
Yeah, he moved to Europe and they became Ashkenazi over there. And his book, we have it over here actually, it's right next to the Shulchan Aruch, the small red, that's his great-grandson, Rav Epstein. So we have his descendants today, obviously. Now, one day, so Rav Yosef Karo was inside the shul. Now, he had one big mitzvah more than anything. Any free time he had, he would read Mishnayot. Every day, like 18 chapters of Mishnayot. This happened, when a person does that, he creates an angel. It's called a Magid. it comes to teach him Torah. He wrote a book out of all the stuff he taught him. He used to go up to the Shamayim, to the Matifta de Rekia, and he used to tell him Chidushim. He used to have like a relationship with this angel that he created himself with this Mishnayot. For example, one time Rav Yosef Karo, he used to wait for him every morning in Alot HaShachar. Alot HaShachar is dawn. Every morning at dawn, the angel used to come and teach him Torah. One day, and he would never eat before he used to start learning with him. One day, he got very thirsty. It was a hot day in Israel, and he got really thirsty, so he decided, okay, what's the big deal? You're allowed to drink water before Tefillah. He writes it himself. He drank the water. He's waiting an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Doesn't show up, the angel. The next day he comes, how come you didn't come yesterday? He says, how come you drank before... He says, what do you mean? It's mutar, according to halakha. You're allowed to drink water before shachar. He says, yeah, everybody else is allowed to drink water. You're not allowed to drink water. You know what they call you in Shamayim, he said? They say, Mi ha'isha chafetz bikaro ze Rav Yosef Karo. Remember when Haman took Mordechai on the horse and he said, who is the man that the king loves? Right? Mordechai. In Shamayim they say, who is the man Hashem loves? Rav Yosef Karo. You're supposed to be extra kadosh. One time, Rav Yosef Karo was in the table eating food. You know what tznon is? Radish. Today, who eats radishes for enjoyment? Today we have, Baruch Hashem, all the garbage in the world. Back then, their enjoyment was radishes. So he had 3 radishes on the table. He ate all 3 of them. The angel didn't come that day. I said, how come you didn't come? He says, yesterday when you ate the radishes, 2 of them, yeah, you needed them because you were hungry. The 3rd one, you ate it because you wanted it. A guy in your level doesn't eat food because he wants to enjoy from food. You just had to eat the 2 radishes and leave it. And he wrote a book out of it. There's many stuff over there. He tells him, goes back and forth with him. One time, Rav Yosef Karo was walking outside, and he walked, and at that moment, he stopped thinking about the Torah, Mishnayot. That day, the angel doesn't show up. The next day, he goes, how come you don't show up? Because you walked 4 amot. You know what 4 amot is? 6.5 feet without thinking of Torah yesterday. What are we going to say? Of course, that's Rav Yosef Karo. His name resonates through the generations. We're small fry over here. Okay, so he was a big tzaddik. And this all came from which power? Of Mishnayot. Just reading Mishnayot. So one day, he was learning Torah with his students on Shavuot night. And suddenly, in the middle of the learning, they were learning Mishnayot. His voice starts to change. It starts to get really deep. Like a dibuk. And they see his mouth is open, but it's not moving. His students. And out of his mouth, this was the first time the Maggid shows up. It was on Shavuot night. This is the angel. The first time it showed up was on Shavuot night. And he starts to speak from his throat. His mouth was open. Like he's like in a dreamlike state, says the Shla. And a voice starts to speak from his eyes. I am the angel that was created by Rav Yosef's, by your Rebbe's Mishnayot. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you guys were 10 right now, learning Torah at night, this whole night, you guys would have the power to even bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. You have no idea how much Hashem is looking down upon you right now. And I want you to call your friends tomorrow, because it was in Chutz La'aretz. They have 2 nights. Make sure you guys are going to be learning 10 of you tomorrow. And everybody, they got so afraid, they almost fainted over there. Imagine your Rebbe's mouth open, suddenly another voice starts to pop out and starts to speak. You were freaked out, right? So, Rav Yosef Karo, from that day on, him and his students were always staying up Shavuot night. Now, the Ari HaKadosh says something unbelievable. I'm going to read it to you inside. I felt it's only 2 lines, but I felt it's so important I have to read it to you inside. What does the Ari HaKadosh say over here? It says, Veda. We said Rav Yosef Karo, that's the Pshat. The Pshat says you have to stay up all night? Yes. Now let's look at the Kabbalah. Veda. And you should know. Tikol mi shelo yishan klal. Anyone who won't sleep even a bit. Shar Kavanot. Drush Chag HaShavuot. Afilu rega, if you won't even
for a moment,
for a split moment, a nanosecond. Balayla azeh, in this night, v'yeh osek b'Torah, and he will be learning Torah. Kol halayla, what's kol halayla? The whole night. Muftach lo. There's 2 words of faith in Hebrew: emunah and bitachon. What's higher, emunah or bitachon? Bitachon. Bitachon is high. You know what bitachon is? Yeah. Bitachon is a guarantee. It's a not a guarantee, it's a warranty. They're going to give you a warranty. The Ari says, I'm your guarantor. I'm going to give you a warranty. I promise you, he says, sheyashlim shnato, you're going to finish out your year. That means you're going to live until the next Shavuot. I promise you. ולא יארע לו שום נזק בשנה ההיא. Nothing bad is going to happen to you that whole year. Did you guys just hear what I said? He says, ולא עוד. I'm going to tell you guys something special. And this is what you mentioned with the Tycoon karet. He says, ולא עוד, and not only that, he says. It's unbelievable. שהוראת חיי האדם. A person's life is dependent, בשנה ההיא, on that year, בעניין זה, in this matter. כי אם לא יישן כלל, because if you won't sleep at all, ודאי שלא ימות בשנה ההיא. For sure you're not going to die that year. ודי בזה. And that's enough to give you a reason to stay up all night. Who could hear these words and not stay up all night? Only it has to be a madman. This is crazy. The Ari says, I promise you, you're not going to die that year. Wouldn't you take his word for it? This is like a million Rav Ovadias coming to you and telling you, I promise you, nothing bad is going to happen to you the rest of the year. And not only that, guys. Whoever stays up on the night of Shavuot, whoever stays up, and he doesn't waste his time talking about shtuyot, because a person who's going to waste his time talking about nonsense, it's better he goes to sleep. He's deciding that night how much Torah he's going to be able to receive for the next year. How much parnasah you're going to make, that's in Rosh Hashanah. How much Torah you're going to learn, which is the real Chayei Adam, is decided when? On Chag Shavuot. Hashem is waiting to see who's going to stay up all night. How much Torah is going to be written. That's what I said. Sefer HaZichronot is going to be written in the book of memories of Hashem. If he's going to stay up all night. Now, you might say, wait a sec. Okay, I'm going to stay up all night. Can I learn Mishnah? Can I learn Gemara? I want to learn some pilpul, you know what I'm saying? The Chida writes, Rav Ovadia brings the Chida down. The minhag of the Sfaradim. Bechol Tfutzot Yisrael. And all the places of Am Yisrael. The minhag of the Sfaradim was to stay up all night and read the book called Tycoon Leil Shavuot. That's our minhag. Not to go to a lecture. You want to go to a lecture? Come Wednesday night to a lecture. On the night of Shavuot, the minhag was to read the Tikkun Shavuot. And the Chidah says, I testify about myself. He said, he lived a very hard life. It would be a very amazing lecture to make about his life. He went to all the different countries of the world, saw all the Jews. He took upon himself galut. He used to make himself like a low life. And he was collecting money for Eretz Yisrael. So it's a very hard job, especially back then when there was no PayPal and bank transfers. Back then, you had to collect money. You have to leave your wife for a year. Collect money. And then you would have to go by boat all the way back if you would make the journey. Back.
How long did he live?
And he never made it back, by the way. He died in Italy. And then they moved his body like 30 years ago back to Eretz Yisrael. There's a crazy story of how they moved his body back. I don't want to get into it right now.
Let's make a lecture on that, okay?
And the Chidah, it's an amazing story. The Chidah says, I testified my whole life. You know what kind of gaon he was? He wrote over 70 books. Half of our... we have 3 Marans. 3 heads of the Sfaradim. One is Maran Beit Yosef. One is the Maran Ha'ari. One is Maran HaChidah. We have 3 Marans in the Sfaradim. Now they say there's a 4th one. Maran Rav Ovadia. I had to say that for them. No, I'm kidding. So it says over there, he says, I testify my whole life, I never ever missed 2 nights of Shavuot reading the Tikkun standing up. He wouldn't even sit down when he used to read the Tikkun. He used to stand up. And he says, those Sfaradim, he says, who came up with new minhagim to read Gemara all night and Mishnayot, they made up stuff in their own head. They totally made it up, he said. You must learn the Tikkun of the Ari HaKadosh. Even though it's hard and though it's a lot of reading. I know it's very tough. Even I get tired.
It's just Parashiyot, no?
It's the 3 first Pesukim of every parasha, and then the first 3 Pesukim of every book of the prophets and the writings. Including the whole book of Ruth. The whole book. Why? What is the meaning of all of this? I'll explain to you. On Shavuot, there are 2 days of the year it's considered like a wedding. One is Simchat Torah, when we dance with the Torah, and one is what? Shavuot. It's a wedding, 2 days that are a wedding. One is like an anniversary, and one is like the actual wedding. Simchat Torah is more like an anniversary, right? We finish the Torah, we celebrate. Shavuot is the actual wedding. So Hashem, on the Har Sinai, we were like Hashem's bride, right? The Torah was like the Ketuvah, the mountain on top of us was like the Chuppah, v'chule v'chule. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Mesader Kiddushin. What a Mesader Kiddushin, right? And when a person used to get married back in the day, he used to take a 6-month break just to make money to buy jewelry for his wife, the Gemara says. 6-month break just to buy. How many pieces of jewelry he used to buy, says the Gemara? 24 pieces of jewelry. 2 earrings, a nose ring. Well, these days we don't wear nose rings. It's already became chukot hagoyim. It's already not tzniut. But back in the day, we see in the Torah when Eliezer saw Rivka, what did he put on her nose? He put a nose ring, right? Not like a bull. Well, a small nose ring. And ankle bracelets for the ankle, bracelets for the hand, maybe a necklace and a pendant. Altogether, it would be a keter. How you say, like a tiara. 24 pieces of jewelry. So the Torah says, the Ari says, when you finish one out of all 24 books that night of Shavuot, you're basically creating one piece of jewelry for the Shekhinah Kedosha. You're basically preparing the wedding. You become the Shushvina de Matronita. You basically become like Hashem's best man. You understand? And that's something that gets you 70 blessings and gets you put in the Sefer HaZichronot. So it's not a night to miss. Especially since the Ari says, I promise you that you're not going to die that year. Nobody wants to die, right? We want to live till next year. Not only that, Benayahu Shmueli says, Chas Shalom, a person who's with a Nida. Chas v'Shalom. He made a mistake. Happens, no? Happens. Or he was Mechalel Shabbat. Or he ate on Yom Kippur by mistake. Or he ate Chametz on Pesach by mistake. He gets karet, right? What's the tikkun for karet? You have to stay up all night and learn Torah. One night takes care of one karet. Shavuot is like the mother of all fixing of the karets. You understand? It takes care of like 100 karets. It's a very powerful night. Now, but it only works on one condition. You can't sleep even, you can't even node off. You can't sleep at all. That means the Seudah finishes, you've got to do a very short Seudah. Right away, you got to start learning. You have to start learning right away. Now, let's say you don't have the power to do that, guys. It's hard sometimes, right? Reading. Now, I need to learn something that's going to keep me awake. My suggestion is to only do the 24 times 3 Pesukim of the 24 books, and then take a book on the 613 Mitzvot and learn it the whole night. Every mitzvah you learn that night, Bezrat Hashem, you're going to be able to fulfill it that year. So if I take upon myself, bli neder, I'm not a Navi, I'm not a Chozeh, I'm not Baal Ruach HaKodesh, but I'm saying this from Svara. Let's say I did many mitzvot in my life. Shiluach HaKem, Ba'avi, Barabum, Pidyon Haben. I want to do the mitzvah of Peter Chamor. I want to buy a donkey. It's a very rare mitzvah. I want to buy a donkey. Wait till she gets pregnant, and if she has a baby boy, I want to buy it from the Kohen. Just like I bought my firstborn son, I'm going to have to buy the firstborn donkey back from the Kohen with a sheep. Don't laugh, guys. Rav Ovadia did it too. Rav Salman Mutzafi bought 3 donkeys until one of them actually gave birth to a male. He used to go to every donkey farm in Israel to do this mitzvah. It's a very rare mitzvah. Very rare mitzvah. I want to do this mitzvah. So I heard in the name of one of the Hasidic Rebbes, if you want to fulfill a certain mitzvah this year and you have no other way, and you have no way of doing it, how am I going to do it? Do you have a donkey farm around here? No. And even if I do find one, who said I can trust the goyim to take care of it for me? Right? So what I do on that night of Shavuot, pick one mitzvah to learn it inside and out. And Be'ezrat Hashem, bli neder, listen, I said I'm not a Navi, I'm not a Chozeh. I'm not a Ben Navi either, I'm not a Baal Ruach HaKodesh. Be'ezrat Hashem is going to see your goodwill, and He's going to see you're giving, because you're in Sefer HaZichronot now, am I right or wrong? Yes or no? You're Sefer HaZichronot. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that you'll be able to fulfill that mitzvah. Be'ezrat Hashem. One last point we're going to make, and we're going to pray our Avit. One last point, and it's a beautiful point. Beautiful point. It's a nice Devar Torah you could even say on the table. It's short and easy and simple. The night of Shavuot, and there's much to say, guys. I didn't even touch. There is to talk about going in the mikveh in the morning. Should I go to the mikveh? Should I not go to the mikveh? When do I light the candles? Halachot. Let's say I fell asleep on the table. Do I say Birkat Torah? Do I not say Birkat Torah? There's many halachot. What do I say in the morning? When do I say Birkat Shachar? Okay, you never have time to finish the whole Torah. Torah is endless. What can you do? Right? I'm going to tell you one small word and that's it. The beginning of the Omer, right? The beginning of the Omer, what do we bring? What's the Korban? It's called Korban HaOmer. What was the Korban HaOmer? Anyone here know? It was barley. Barley. They would take the barley, they would grind it until it was fine flour and make matzot out of it. Okay? Yes, all the korbanot made out of flour was turned into what? Matzah. Always matzah. And barley and some of it was eaten, some of it was burned. And now the Korban HaOmer was the only korban that was not made out of flour. It was made out of barley flour. Now, who here likes barley? I'm not a big fan of barley. In fact, the Gemara said there was only one other korban that a person would bring barley. Which one was that? The korban of the sotah. What's a sotah? R.Shalom, if a guy believes that his wife, and he suspects her of something, so she has to bring a korban called korban sotah. And what was that? It wasn't flour. What was it? Barley. Why barley? Barley, the Gemara said, is the food of animals. So when you act like an animal, you bring a korban of animals. So what happens? On Pesach, we start to do the Omer. Right? The Omer time, the Satan is in full force. You guys felt it, right? This Omer was... I know for sure I felt it. Not personally, I saw it in people. Right? Anger and this and that. People... Omer is a tough time. It's a tough time. We are in a state of very animalistic. We're immature. Okay, so what do we bring in the beginning of the Omer? Barley. What do we bring at the end of the Omer? Chag Shavuot. What do we bring? What kind of a korban? Korban Bikurim, the Shavuot. It's the only korban that we don't make into matzah. What do we make it into? Chametz. Torah says make it into chametz. Shavuot night. I have to make it into chametz? How? Chametz is bad. All the korbanot of the year is what? Matzah. Suddenly on Shavuot I'm making chametz? I know it's not Pesach, but still, come on, the irony. We just came out of Pesach. The answer is like this. After we finish with the Omer, we're not afraid of chametz anymore. Chametz is done. The Satan is gone. You could eat chametz now. Now is the time to eat chametz. Because on Shavuot, there is no Yetzer Hara. There is a haftacha, a promise from the Ari HaKadosh. A promise. If you stay up all night, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You know why? This is the only night a person has the power to stay up all night. And I know it from personal experience. When I was a yeshiva guy, we used to have something called mishmar. You know what mishmar is? Yeah. We used to stay up all Thursday night learning Torah. After I got married, I was belonging to a certain yeshiva of Mekubalim in Williamsburg. We used to have a rebbe used to come, and when we used to try to do Tycoon karet, I remember I used to, in the middle of the Tycoon karet, I used to tell myself, wow, I'd rather fast for 2 days. I just can't open my eyes. It would be around 3 in the morning. I'd rather fast. I personally rather fast than stay up all night. There's one night of the year, there's no Satan, there's no Sfinas Chametz, there's no Chametz. What is that? Shavuot night. There shouldn't be even a shemetz. You know what a shemetz is? A dot of doubt inside your mind. You can do this. Especially if you were able to count all 49 days of the Omer. If a person finished counting all 49 days of the Omer, you know what kind of level he is in front of Hashem? Even though he messed up during the Omer time, but you didn't miss a day, I know Talmidei Chachamim who missed. I promise. I know a rabbi who missed. I'm not going to say his name, obviously. I know missed. Okay, you missed. What can you do? But could you imagine, wait a second, could you imagine you finished 49 days of the Omer? 49 days! You're on a different level right now. There's no chametz inside of you. May Hashem give us the zchut mivatel our chametz to go higher with Torah, Simchim Tovim, Bracha, V'atzlacha, Parnasat, V'Shalom Bayit, V'Fuah Hashem, Ahavat Chinam, Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen.